With Cardano touching the $3 mark, it is time for another daily update of the Cardano chart. As you can see, we briefly touched $3 yesterday and we've had a big downfall ever since. This is mainly due to the fact that Bitcoin is declining by a lot. Well, you know that we've touched $3, but did you also know how we got from the bottom till this point? Let me briefly explain it to you. So the thing we saw at ADA, aka Cardano, was that we were making a big bottom and another bottom, which you could call a double bottom pattern. Patterns like this on the weekly time frame are usually pretty solid, especially if you get a deep touch or a decent touch below all support zones. This usually is a place where liquidity can be found. As you guys can see, we broke all the way through it and we then retested the area before breaking out even higher to touch the zone, the target zone of our double bottom pattern. As also known in our previous analysis, you could see that we've made a breakout from the neckline. We had a perfect retest and then we found support on the neckline of the double bottom. Our target would have been around 20 cents, so this was basically a decent trade. Before we went above 20 cents, we had some small decreases, but this was the way to go, and this was the way to check in for the next resistance. This was a line we set up months ago, and this proved to be a vital resistance, especially with the vital resistance line you can see right here. But once this was broken, sky was of course the limit. The next thing to look at was creating an all-time high, or at least touching the previous all-time high. So I'm gonna just remove those drawings and take a look and see if I can help you guys see the next all-time high sequence. As you guys can see, we have had a breakout from the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame is one of the most important in my opinion, so that's why I'm going to be briefly taking you guys over this one. But as you can see, the highest weekly close ever before 2021 was around $1. Cardano did touch about 140 before falling down back to $1 or just below $1 before the weekly close. But now we found, or at least it seems like we found perfect support on the $1 area. Cardano just didn't want to go below $1 anymore. For the last, I would say almost the complete year, Cardano has been above $1. And what did we see? We saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. We saw 8 weeks of testing the previous all-time high before it turned into a support resistance flip. As you can see, this is definitely a resistance support flip. The resistance was located right around $1 and we kept falling down back to it, back down to it even after touching $2.50, but it stayed as a support. So the next thing for us to do was take a look, when are we going to break the new all-time high, which was then located at around 240, and this is something that's best to be shown on the daily time frame. As you can see from the daily time frame, we had a pretty easy task to break the all-time high. The all-time high was located right around 250. We had some difficulties at the 220 zone before breaking well above the 250 area to shoot up all the way to $3. From $3 we now have had a fallback, and a pretty steep one, as today we are down about 10%, 9.9% at the moment. However, looking at the smaller time frames, we can see that there is not much to be worried about, at least for the short term. We want to definitely identify the previous all-time high, which is located right around the 235 to 240 zone, and the next support zone. So from this area you can see we started making the low at $1 and we decided to go into an uptrend. This uptrend was confirmed when we started breaking the 150 area. We then had some decent higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and we could now be in for the next higher high. So the next higher low should definitely be located above 240. If we go down below 240, we can say that at least on the shorter time frames, the higher high section is broken and we can expect some more downturn. From the 15 minutes, I can say that today we are now retesting some old support zones. As you can see, we are testing the place where we came from 2 days ago. You can see that we are trying to find some support here, but it's not yet really confirmed. And the other support resistance flip that was located here, so this was at first resistance, we broke through it, this then became support, we broke through the next resistance, and we are now at this support resistance flip. This seems to be a pretty decent place to stay in positions. I wouldn't dare to short or to open long positions, but this does seem like a decent area. And why does this seem like a decent area? Because it is also confirmed by the Fibonacci retracement levels. As some of you might know, I only like to use the 0.786 and 0.618, besides the minus 0.27 and the minus 0.68. But this zone usually is a great place for long opportunities. And as we are now on the slower time frames or on the lower time frames, we can start to get a clear view of what is going to be happening, at least with the Fibonacci retracement. So altogether, Cardano doesn't look too bad. However, due to Bitcoin correcting, we are seeing some signals of a retracement. Make sure to tune in for the next daily update, which will probably be online in a few days. Thanks for tuning in. I wish you all the best and stay safe trading.